So as you can see, we have a deck here. We have not done anything with it. It hasn't been cleaned. Blades haven't come off of it yet. So we're going to go through pulling the blades off. I'm not going to go through scraping the deck just real in depth, just because obviously that's fairly straightforward. But I do want to show removing the cones and some of the kind of problems that we see with cones getting dirt in them, and just things that might get missed when you service your deck. So with that, let's go ahead and get started pulling the blades off. So these two cones came off pretty well. This one here is stuck. May have to get in there with a pry bar and kind of pry it off. So this is one of the things that we see inside a cone, and this is kind of a bad situation. If you just pull your blades off and sharpen them and never clean out the cones, this is a lot of times what it's going to look like on the inside. It ends up leading to a lot of spindle housing wear, and a lot of times we get a lot of debris in here. So when we put the blades back on, it's hard to make sure that they're flat and they're straight. So definitely want to go ahead and clean these out, and you can get in there and just kind of break up that dirt and debris. You don't have to spend a lot of time on it. There's also a washer in the bottom of these cones that you would want to make sure that's still in there as well. And there it fell out. So you can see how much debris we got out of this cone off of this machine. So definitely want to make sure you get that all cleaned out. And it's kind of the same deal on the other two. We won't go through all of it. There's a lot of times the hardware that we get. So we have, like I say, we have a washer inside the cone, but then we've also got several washers on the bolt. And it's not uncommon to see these get mixed up. So people, pull their blades off to sharpen them. They'll get these washers will fall off, and then they don't realize maybe which way they go back together. So kind of one of the things when you pull this apart, go back to, the owner's manual and make sure that you figure out how this hardware goes back together and make sure that there's none of it missing. So that's kind of pulling the blades off. Obviously, we can scrape the deck. The cleaner we can get the deck, the better we're going to be able to remove material in the future. If we can start with a clean deck, it's going to want to stay clean longer. So with that, we got a nice big scraper that we can get in here. And get that deck all cleaned up. From there, we would want to do the same thing on all three of these cones as far as getting them cleaned up. So we got a washer in the bottom of that cone. That's how it should be. We'll do the same thing on the third one. And as you can see, this washer is very rusted in here. So more than likely this machine's been getting washed a lot. And so it's probably gonna take some work to get this washer out of there. It is still in there, like these other two. But like I say, because it's been getting washed, which we don't really recommend getting a lot of water underneath the deck, just because you do see rust issues. You can see how these spindle housings have corroded, and that's all water. From somebody washing out the underneath side of the deck. It really does more harm than it does good. So if we can avoid that at all costs, just scraping the deck is the way to go. So with that, I'll show you installing the blades back on this machine. I like to use an impact just to kind of tighten up the bolts. We'll go back in and we will actually torque them, but this just kind of speeds up the process. If you don't have an impact, Just a regular old breaker bar works as well. It's just not quite as quick. So this is a torque wrench. Book says on this particular deck we want torque these bolts to 55 foot-pounds. So I've got my torque wrench set to 55 foot-pounds. One of the easy ways of doing this is just getting a block of wood and taking it and sticking it in between the baffle and the blade. And from here we can take and get that blade set down on the baffle, and it kind of holds the blade for us. And that blade's torqued. We would go ahead and do the same thing on the other two. It's kind of the same deal, just times 2 on the other 2 blades. And that's really kind of the underneath side of the deck. From there, we'll go ahead and we will let it down, and we'll take a look at the top side of the deck and maybe some maintenance things that we could look at and make sure that nothing else is going on with this deck.